A Katseye member just said on camera in a magazine interview that she'd walk up to another woman and call her a name I can't even say out loud. That's not a rumor, that's on tape. Daniela from Katseye is having a rough couple of weeks, and honestly at this point the mean girl label isn't really a theory anymore. It's starting to look like a pattern. There's a viral clip making the rounds. An interview moment that had people rewinding in disbelief, and apparently a family history of exactly this kind of behavior. If you thought this group was done with drama, buckle up because it's not slowing down. Hello everyone, my name is Yul, and today we're gonna talk about Katseye. We're gonna break down into what happened, what people are talking about, and if you are new in this channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and please let the comments below. So let's get into it. So let's start with what actually kicked this off, because it's a small moment, but it says a lot. There's a clip from a fan event going around, and it is not a flattering look. In it, Daniela's explaining that a marker has dried out, and instead of just setting it down, she throws it. It bounces off the table and hits the floor. Whoever filmed it captioned the behavior as disrespectful, and the comment section under that post is a full-on battlefield.
Sharpie dried out, so I think that, I dried out, so I think that,
Naturally, her stance showed up in force, arguing she was just setting the marker down and it slipped by accident, that people are manufacturing outrage out of nothing. But watch the clip yourselves. There's a real difference between a marker slipping out of someone's hand and a marker getting launched with an attitude behind it. Small moments like that tend to say more about someone than the big rehearsed ones, and for a lot of people watching, this was the moment the sweetheart image started cracking, and the marker wasn't even the main event. What really lit this up was the Vanity Fair hot seat interview, the one where a random member gets handed a random question. Daniela got asked how she'd handle a Gabriela, the group's own song about a woman trying to steal someone's man. Instead of laughing it off, she said she'd confront the woman directly. Lara immediately said she'd handle it completely differently. Daniela didn't back down. She acted out the whole imaginary confrontation, attitude and swearing included, ending with something along the lines of walking up and calling the other woman a name I'm not going to repeat, then telling her to stay away from her man.
I don't know, what do you do? Like, you just have to cut her off?
maybe go up to her and give her a little talk.
I would never.
I would do that.
I honestly would never.
I would so do that. I'd go up to her and be like, honestly,
that's such a
stop
waste
talking about man and be like, bye.
You are my man. No, I would never.
I'd be like, I'll beat you up.
But that's so not worth my time.
Lara, for her part, looked genuinely uncomfortable with the whole bit. She said she'd rather deal with a restraining order than ever confront another woman that way. And that contrast is exactly why this clip went as viral as it did.
I would never go up to another girl and be like, don't.
Then why would you do that?
Why?
No, if it becomes an ongoing issue, it's we've done
We got a
everything,
restraining
that
order.
is the last possible thing that I do.
This random is not worth my energy.
What if it wasn't a random? What if it was your friend?
Well, I would cut off my friend, and that would be that. I wouldn't be like, don't touch my man. Do you know what I mean?
I'd fight her. I'd just fight her.
Never.
I'd fight her.
But that's not worth your time.
My avoidance comes in, and I would just pretend she doesn't exist.
And here's the actual problem with it. Why is the instinct to go always after the older woman instead of the man that is supposedly entertaining her? That's pick me energy, full stop, and it's a genuinely strange look for a group whose whole brand leans into female empowerment. You can't preach girl power in your music and then roleplay threatening another woman over a man in an interview. It just reads as dated and messy. And unfortunately, this kind of thing might genuinely run in the family. Back in February, Daniela's father posted some comments about Manon's departure that came across as dismissive, basically suggesting Manon wasn't essential to the group and that her absence wasn't a big deal. It's worth saying clearly he did later apologize in a public statement in March, saying he wasn't in the right headspace and that he regretted getting involved in the discourse at all. Still, the timing is what it is. A pattern of dismissive, combative comments from the people closest to Daniela does make you wonder where some of this energy is actually coming from. And Daniela's not the only one catching heat right now. Lara's been getting dragged for how she treated the group's youngest member, Yoonchae, in a recent interview. Yoonchae doesn't talk much in interviews to begin with, so when she finally got a moment to speak, fans were genuinely excited to hear from her. Except Lara kept cutting her off. Every time Yoonchae opened her mouth, Lara jumped back in and took the conversation back over.
Then I was like, it didn't feel real.
Yeah.
And,
In denial.
yeah, and after that,
Denial. You know when we would cry is when they would hug us goodbye.
People were not having it. One comment that summed up the general mood pointed out that Yoonchae barely talks in these interviews to begin with, so watching her get repeatedly cut off just to let Lara talk over her came across as self-centered and rude. Some people are now calling Lara a mean girl too, which honestly makes you wonder if this is less about two individual personalities and more about something baked into how this group operates. There's a difference between being confident and being so self-absorbed you won't let your own teammate finish a sentence. And speaking of things baked into how this group operates, let's talk about Hybe for a second, because the company's catching just as many strays as the members are right now. Manon's been on an indefinite hiatus since February, and nobody outside the company actually knows if or when she's coming back. Officially, it's about her health. But health reasons is the industry's go-to line whenever a label doesn't want to get into what's actually happening behind closed doors, and a lot of fans just aren't buying it as the whole story anymore. And then, right in the middle of all this, Hybe drops the trailer for their new documentary, Wild Hearts, and Manon is all over it. Fans were caught completely off guard. Some people were happy to see her, a lot of others were skeptical, wondering out loud if Hybe is just using her face to pull in views, even though she's not technically active in the group right now. And people are worried about how the documentary will actually frame her, as the girl who couldn't keep up, as the villain, or just not addressed at all. Okay, quick update because the documentary thread from part 1 actually moved just 2 days ago. On July 15th, Katseye officially dropped the full trailer for Wild Hearts. It opens with Sophia asking, essentially, how the group got to this point so fast, and closes on Yunche teasing a new era. The documentary is being billed as a love letter to the fans, and it's dropping alongside news that the group's third EP, Wild, is set for release on August 12th. As for whether Manon actually features in it in any meaningful way, that's still genuinely unclear. Some outlets are reporting she appears multiple times in the teaser, others are framing her inclusion as still an open question. So the uncertainty from part 1 hasn't actually been resolved. If anything, it's just gotten more official. So that's where this stands. The marker clip and the Vanity Fair moment aren't going anywhere. Lara's still getting called out over the Yoonchi clip, and now there's an actual documentary rolling out that's going to force this whole group dynamic back into the spotlight, whether they're ready for that or not. Look, talent got this group here, but talent doesn't cover for how you treat the people around you on camera or off. If the documentary actually shows some real accountability, great. If it's just more curated love letter branding while the actual behavior goes unaddressed, that's going to be obvious too. So tell me what you actually think. Is Daniela a mean girl or just misunderstood and under a lot of pressure? Is Lara leading or just talking over people? And is Manon getting a real comeback or just a trailer cameo? Drop your take in the comments, I read all of them. And if you want me covering this the second the documentary actually drops, subscribe, because you know I'll be back the moment something new breaks. But this group is clearly still just scratching the surface of whatever's really going on behind the scenes.